Hi, Commissioner McAdam. Could I have you test your audio and video, please?
Hi, sorry, were you speaking to me there?
Yes, yes. So I
Oh,
see
sorry.
video's working, audio's working, so we're all set.
Brilliant. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Hi, Commissioner Young. Can I have you test your audio and video, please? Hi, Commissioner Young. When you have a chance, if we could just test your audio and video, please. Hi, Chair Curtis. Could I have you test your video? Oh, there, I see you and your audio next.
Yep, here we go. Rock
Perfect.
and
Thank
roll.
you.
You're welcome. Aloha.
And this is my audio. Um, this is Peter.
Perfect. Can hear you loud and clear. Did we test your video yet? I think you're coming in
Yeah.
now.
Well, I'm trying to.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, Commissioner Cam. I see your video is working. Let's go ahead and do an audio test.
Okay, hello, good morning.
Perfect, loud and clear. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to reset my computer. I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Mhm.
All right, Commissioner Young, looks like we have video now. Let's go ahead and test audio next.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Perfect, loud and clear. Thank you.
You got it.
Hi, Commissioner Kushney. I see your video is working. Let's go ahead and test your audio. I see video still. It looks like you're still on mute. Let's go ahead and test right now.
Yeah, there's got to be something different you guys can do because you're locking my audio out. And I think this is happening to the people who are trying to speak also. So I don't know what's going on.
No, so as a commissioner, you have co-host duties, so you should be able to mute and unmute yourself. So I don't see on the technical side how that should be an issue, but we'll keep monitoring it for you. But as far as audio right now, looks like I hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Hi, Commissioner Papalimu. I see videos working. Let's go ahead and check your audio.
Aloha, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Hi, Commissioner Andrion. I see you're in the room. Can I have you test? Perfect. I see video. Let's do audio next.
Hello.
All right, perfect. Loud and clear. Thank you. Hi, Commissioner Osterkamp. I see videos working. Let's do an audio check.
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good morning. I see it's 10 a.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Would ask for a roll call to establish a quorum.
Commissioner Angion,
Here.
Such growth.
Commissioner Kushni,
Here,
Commissioner Kam,
Here.
Commissioner Kawada is excused, Commissioner McAdam,
Here.
Commissioner Osterkamp,
Here.
Commissioner Papalimu,
Here.
Commissioner Young,
Here.
okay, and Chair Curtis.
Here.
All right, Chair, there is a quorum.
Thank you. So today's agenda, we're going to have Mr. Cheng explain to us the PIG task force outline. Peter Young and Lindsay Kam will explain the report from the PIG. We'll accept public testimony, 3 minutes each to make their points. The discussion will be among the commission. I'll do the same format with the 3 minutes for each commissioner to make their points. And we'll rotate by island from Big Island to Hawaii, and we'll rotate that every 3 minutes until we're exhausted. So I'd ask Jordan Cheng to explain to us the PIG task force laws and outline, why we're having a meeting today.
Thank you, Chair. And so just briefly, as we all know, we're here today to hear the presentation of Commissioner Young's Permitted Interaction Group report and his recommendations on that report. So this is all subject to HRS section 92-2.5 relating to permitted interactions. And just so that, just reacquaint where we're at right now. So the PIG was formed initially at our, I believe it was in the March meeting. And now what we're here to do is to hear the findings and recommendations from the PIG. And just based on the requirements of that, of both OAP guidance as well as the law. So what will happen is that the PIG will present the report, present their findings and recommendations, and after that, any discussion and decision-making on the PIG is required to be done at a subsequent meeting. And after the PIG presents its report, it's effectively dissolved. So there's no further interactions outside of board meetings after this meeting. So that's kind of just a summary of where we're at. So again, one more time. So today we're going to hear the report, hear the findings and recommendations. Any discussions and deliberations will need to be done at a later meeting. And this is to allow the public to hear the report that I just did so that they can provide informed comments at the next duly noticed meeting.
Thank you. Jeffrey, can we see your face? Please and thank you. Commissioner Osterkamp, can we see your attendance? So I would ask Peter Young to present his report and findings, and Lindsay will have a chance too.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, we all have survived the tsunami yesterday. I hope that your area was not inundated and that you came out of it safe and sound. Our prayers are with those who were affected directly. So I just wanted to throw that out. The second thing I want to just say to everybody here is that it was really an honor to kind of join up with my colleagues, Lindsay and Anita, to dive into this issue. And I just want to publicly thank both of them for putting in lots of time and lots of conversation, debate, if you will, and to come to this report and so forth. We have received written testimony that I've read already, and I'm genuinely pleased with kind of the thrust of what people are sending in, and hopefully we'll hear the same from participants today. So we began by forming the PIG. It consisted of myself, a chair and a commissioner, Anita Aquino, who was a member, and a commissioner at the time. She has since resigned her commission position. And then Lindsay Kam, who was the citizen member of the PIG and has now been appointed as a elections commission commissioner. So congratulations to Lindsay. So we definitely had the spread of opinion and thought in terms of diving into all the facts and figures. Our report is fairly straightforward, at least we think it is. The complaints regarding the chain of custody and election result discrepancies on Kauai, I think, are valid. I think our contention, which we will talk about later, is verbiage used. It's explanations that were not forthcoming, but we'll get into some details there. We were concerned that the clerk, in terms of HAR 3177453B, in terms of second bullet here, there were no logs or records complying with this received from the County of Hawaii, the PIG. Now, again, I'm asking that people understand that it may be forthcoming. It may have been lost in the mail, no pun intended, but we did not receive it. The count, based on scans of ballot envelopes into the statewide voter registration system, is not reconciled with any manual counts, is not verifiable. Again, we're talking about verbiage here, and in fact, the Elections Commission and the County of Kauai may be able to come back and say, no, here, look here. We didn't see that. The number of mail ballots increased from the number collected, 26,000 and change, with some rejected, to a final number of 2775, which was officially reported to state. The problem here is that there was no plausible explanation for the increase that was offered. And that's where, again, we find that the communications, I think, completely broke down. There may be, in fact, a viable path for the 600 plus votes to have been cast aside. We didn't get that explanation, and we were genuinely disappointed in the process. Continuing on with the report, I do want to highlight a couple of things. And by the way, I'm going to have Commissioner Cam speak on behalf of the committee also, the PIG. What we received from the County of Kauai was the following. Any perceived inconsistency or correction within the manual hand counts of returned identification envelopes is irrelevant. I repeat, is irrelevant to the official election results, as they do not represent the official count. This is the thing that I think caught all three of our kind of ears and eyes, was the use of the word irrelevant. We all can look it up in the dictionary, and I think that we can all agree that using the word irrelevant then negates kind of everything but that last number of 27,000 and change. And what we were looking for was a full-on explanation of how you got to 26,000 and change to 27,000. That's all we were asking. Step by step, where things were discarded or pushed aside, and then, oh yes, we got to 27,000. But they didn't use this word once in responding to the PIG. They used it 4 different times, telling us that the process up to the official count for the state was irrelevant. And we didn't think, regardless of how we individually thought, collectively, we were very put off by the word irrelevant because, again, I'm repeating myself, but it bears repeating that the word irrelevant then kind of negates or exacerbates many of the issues that have been brought up, right or wrong. It's the word, I think, that really has confounded lots and lots of people here. Our recommendations at the end were hashed out over several sessions of the PIG. We want to make sure that we can get, we're requesting some official audits at the county level, the state level. We'd like to hold a hearing collectively, where we bring the parties all together, sitting at, around the big table. And then we'd like to make some recommendations in terms of just simple procedural kinds of things. First and foremost, we understand that official observers are volunteers. And that in some cases, county by county, they may not have, or there may not be enough official observers to cover all the areas which people are talking about in the last few meetings. With that said, we want to make sure that official observers, assuming that we can get larger numbers in the future, are allowed at the various stages of this process, so that we don't have the kinds of finger pointing that we saw or that we've been hearing about from several folks in the past. At this point, with the PIG being dissolved, I just want to reiterate that it was a wonderful exercise for the three of us. We had many really good discussions, and we're willing to take some questions, but I want to turn it over to Lindsay for some follow-on.
Thank you, Peter. I just think it's worthy to spend 5 minutes maybe reading the recommendations out loud, because we want to underline them, and regardless of how we got here, this is what we think should happen next. And first of all is to get some straight answers and accountability, if possible, from the state and county officials. So A, from the county, request an official audit of ballot envelopes from the collection points to the transfer to the counting center. That does not exist. From the state, request an official audit to confirm that the state has 27,075 mail-in paper ballots in its possession. C, hold a hearing to address the state and county elections officials about how the total number of mail-in ballots counted on Kauai grew to 27,075. This is in keeping with 3-170-9. The Elections Commission may convene a public hearing to receive evidence and to solicit public comment concerning the investigation. Such a public hearing will be held within a reasonable time after the Elections Commission has completed its investigation. So we're hoping that that would be coming up before too long. Equally important is trying to put some changes in place for the elections to come. So request that efforts be made to modify the administration of elections in the future and change the rules to ensure that counties keep an accurate official daily count of ballot envelopes collected and received and publish a summary of the same. Any discrepancies between manual hand count and official count be explained and attached to all summary statements of an election. This is not irrelevant. A little side note, it turns out that Kauai has the best records of all 4 counties, but they are woefully inadequate. But the other big island is off. Maui has none. Oahu has none. B, allow official observers to be present for collection of ballot envelopes from ballot boxes and the sign off on the numbers recorded. At this time, just so you know, the law has specified that official observers be in the counting center, but not at the counties. That is up to the counties at this point. And if they let you come and observe, it's like as a courtesy. they're not required to do that. And so we think that there should be official observers present all the way along. Allow official observers to be present for all steps of signature verification and sign off on results. D, counties keep an official record of the number of ballot envelopes that do not pass signature verification each day and publish a chart summarizing those numbers. Finally, that counties keep an official account of ballot envelopes transported to the county centers and publish those counts. These counts should be included in any manual hand count versus official count discrepancy reports that are attached to any election summary report. This is our job. Our job is to assess how the elections went and establish new policies, whether that's by sending them to the legislature or whatever. But this is our job, is to see if it all adds up and to, if not, make sure that changes come about. So that's what we're up to. It's undeniable that there were fewer envelopes received than ballots counted. And we, the people, deserve an explanation for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Peter. At this time, we'll open it for public testimony. Who's the first one with their raised hands? And please keep your points succinct and do not repeat yourself. Got 3 minutes, and please make your points within those 3 minutes.
Hi, Chair. Let me go ahead and just read some instructions before the first testifier. So if you would like to testify, please click raise hand under reactions on Zoom. If you are joining us by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. When your name is called, you'll receive a notification requesting you to unmute your microphone. Please promptly accept the request. If you're experiencing technical difficulties and are unable to unmute your microphone, we will move on to the next testifier and return to you at a later time. We ask that you clearly state your first and last name at the start of your testimony so that your name is properly recorded. Lastly, to ensure that we have sufficient time to hear all the testimony, each testifier will have 3 minutes to testify. Once your time has expired, you'll be asked to conclude your remarks. The first testifier is Nolan Chang, followed by Judith Mills Wong.
Mr. Chang.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Aloha, Chair Curtis and esteemed members of the Election Commission. My name is Nolan Chang. I'm the Hawaii Republican Party National Committeeman. It is with a mix of delight and shock that I join you today to provide testimony based on the investigative report into the Kauai County 2024 electoral system. We have long known of the inherent problems within this system, and it is with great satisfaction that I see the Election Commission finally taking action to audit the electoral process after a long hiatus. The findings of the independent investigative team, as detailed in the report dated July 13, 2025, come as no surprise to many of us. However, the revelation of the truth is a moment of vindication that I am grateful to witness. I extend my heartfelt kudos to the investigative panel for their integrity, neutrality, and honest reporting on all of the discrepancies discovered during their thorough investigation. Your report highlights critical issues, including the lack of compliance with HAR 3 TAC 177 TAC 453B by the County of Kauai, the unverifiable counts in the statewide voter registration system, and the unexplained increase in mail-in ballots from, I think it was 26,630 something to a little over 27,000. Now, these findings underscore the urgent need for action. And while I commend the investigative team for their work, the most crucial step now is to implement the corrective actions recommended. The report calls for official audits, public hearings, and modifications to election administration to enhance transparency and accountability. It is imperative that these recommendations are not just acknowledged, but actively pursued. A significant part of this problem lies in the Office of Elections and its manager, Mr. Nago, who must be held accountable for the results of the audit and implementation of the corrective actions. It is my firm belief that action must be taken to discipline or remove Mr. Nago from his position immediately. Without such measures, the integrity of our electoral process will remain at risk. In conclusion, I urge the Election Commission to move forward with urgency and resolve. And let us not allow this opportunity for reform to slip away. Mahalo for your attention and commitment to the Republic principles of our state. I rest.
Thank you, Mr. Chang.
The next testifier is Judith Mills Wong, followed by Representative Shimizu.
Good morning. I'm Judith Mills Wong. I'm speaking for the League of Women Voters. First of all, I'd like to express my thanks to the Commission, to the Permitted Interaction Group, and to the participants in this study. We appreciate the professional and constructive way that it was conducted. I'm speaking only to the recommendations regarding administration of future elections. The League endorses the use of official observers in all of the stages of ballot collection, verification of signatures, and counting. We also recognize that and the additional record keeping and posting of information is going to be burdensome especially on the county clerk's office, and so we would call for the state to appropriate funds to assist and provide the resources needed for those changes. We have submitted written testimony, so I don't need to continue anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wong.
The next testifier is Representative Shimizu, followed by Shelby Billionaire.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Representative Garner Shimizu here. First of all, I want to thank the PIG members, Chair Peter Young, and participants for your very important work that you endeavored and reported to us. I have to leave for travel and I can't stay for the whole meeting, but I wanted to be here and show my presence and my support. I want to thank you, Chair Curtis, and all of the commissioners for the very important, critically important work that you are all doing. And I hope you realize how important your work is. Also want to thank all of the public, the dedicated public who tirelessly and dedicated to be part of the process and seek answers. I just want to let all of you know that I'm committed to be part of this efforts, and I will do my best to try and be part of getting answers to improve transparency and accountability, as well as trying to join as many of my colleagues as possible. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. There's much work that needs to be done going forward. But again, I want to commit to be part of the process and encourage all of you to keep striving for truth and justice. And I just thank you all again. Mahalo and God bless.
Thank you, Representative.
The next testifier is Shelby Billionaire, followed by Andy Crossland.
Can you guys hear me? Am I coming through?
Yep.
All right, good to see you guys all. I did send my testimonials already. I sent 2, so I'm not going to repeat what I already sent you guys. So what we do, I want to say thank you guys for the pig, the oink oink, the pull out. You guys did a good job. They got 661 votes over. The only logical reason, if you think like Sherlock Holmes, how did the extra votes get in there when on Kauai you guys did the best job? You had the people to collect the numbers, the votes from the box to the check-in, and it matched it up. However, it seems like the only way to slip it is through electronically. There's 661 over. That's where the numbers get a bump up. You check the meeting minutes. It's gonna go over. Scott Nago hopefully is on the call to answer some of the questions for the rest of the commissioners, because it leads me to more questions such as the Big Island. How the heck do you get 19,042 votes over? Kauai 661. I guess you foul-pawed that. But 19,042, that's a lot on the Big Island, and you don't even see that much people in Hilo, so it doesn't make any sense. When they have a PO box, you can't even get them to sign the paper to join the party. So something sounds very screwy with me. You know, I appreciate what the current commissioners are doing, but according to the PIG rules, if you guys stop whatever you're doing, it's dissolved, what happens to the rest of the stuff, the decisions? Wasn't this PIG created back in March when it was supposed to be investigated with Osterkramp back on the Big Island? Weren't they all supposed to have results? Because we got more people on the Big Island. They've been given the calls since our last meeting to see what the heck's up. So I want to know what the results are going to be. I want to see the full audit for all of them. Apparently, we don't have proper chain of custody or any track records for Honolulu County or Maui County, or it sounds really weird, but you guys caught Kauai and Big Island. We can only talk on the agenda items. And if people did Google the HR 3-177, the Office of Elections Commissions, you guys can have the certain rules pursuant to HRS 92-2.5. But, you can also follow HRS 1-1. You guys are breaking the Constitution for Article 2, Section 4 every time in the primary ballot when you guys force someone to choose a party first before they can choose whoever they want. And most of the ballots are don't get counted. So there's some weird, funny business, and the average person doesn't know what's going down. Luckily, we are breaking through, like Brother Nolan said. I'm sure you're going to hear from Andy Crossland, Jamie Detwire. A lot of people followed me. We're going to maximize our 3 minutes to reach out to all of you guys to hopefully get results, some real action, and not just some BS, blue sky. The Civil Beat put the article. There's stuff out there. We know there's election fraud. Now, what are we going to do about it? You can choose to be on the Pono side with the people, and we can change things, because it's not your guys' fault. You guys didn't count the votes, and then we can start pointing the fingers in the right directions, getting real accountability, so we can give a chance for our future kids to say, hey, we didn't F the pooch, but we can let these kids have a decent shot if they want to run for office, run for mayor, run for city council. Pays 127 grand. It's definitely better than volunteering, and being a cop actually pays more than a senator or rep. Pays 78 grand. Representative Odin makes 70 grand. That's it. Peace out. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next testifier is Andy Crossland, followed by Jennifer Hunt.
Aloha, Commission. You can hear me?
Aloha. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So first off, I just wanted to share my appreciation for the chair of this commission for setting up this PIG. I also wanted to share my appreciation for the chair of the PIG and the members of the PIG that conducted this very important work. Unfortunately, I think we would have all liked to see the PIG investigate this and find answers that would explain all of the potential discrepancies and things like that. But what we found actually is that it confirms a lot of what many of us have been saying for years. And it really underscores the need for the commissioners to hold the people accountable that are responsible for these discrepancies, and to really get answers for this, because it's my understanding, based on the report, that there were questions that were left unanswered or wholly inaccurately were answered. And so, this is the first investigation that's actually been conducted in 9 years. That's when the last investigation was conducted by this commission. And it's part of the duties of this commission to investigate complaints. And so it's kind of shocking that this is the first one that has happened, but it's great that it has happened. And unfortunately, like I said, it has discovered many of the things and confirmed many of the things that we have thought have been wrong for many years. It also confirms that Scott Nago is willfully in violation of Hawaii law. Now, he can delegate to the counties, and he has, but it's ultimately his responsibility. And this lack of transparency and unverifiable chain of custody is something that we really have to deal with. And Scott Nago is ultimately responsible for this. And I do find it very concerning that the county's manual hand count is considered irrelevant to the outcome. I mean, that is just for everybody to just, sit and ponder that for just a few seconds. I mean, that's just a shocking statement there that everybody should really consider. There should be no circumstance which there is not an explanation for a county's manual count not matching the state's count. And right now there has been no justifiable or reasonable explanation for that. And so transparency and accountability are critical to restoring confidence in our elections. And because Scott Nago is responsible for this, he really should be considered by the commission to be removed as the chief election officer as an at-will employee, or at the very least significantly reprimanded or disciplined for his failure to hold his own county clerks responsible. And to conclude, I wanted to let the commission know that I fully support and I reinforce all of the recommendations made by the Permitted Interaction Group. And I look forward to seeing some follow through on this. And I hope that this does not just get brushed under the rug. And I really want to see some action on this. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Crossland.
The next testifier is Jennifer Hunt, followed by Jamie Detweiler.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for holding this investigation and the follow-up with it. What I wanted to point out was the last few meetings, I had submitted a complaint about this very thing, but concerning Maui. And if anyone has not read that fully, early on in the election, I did ask for these documents to track, what was getting picked up every day and so on. And those records were not available. I was told about where that they would be on Instagram. But if there was a problem with these documents, like someone forgot that this was part of what was required by law, that should have prompted them to start that process and start tracking those ballots. And so I just wanted to point out that whereas I don't think that Maui County, I don't think it's human error. I don't think that Maui County Clerk's Office is necessarily responsible for this, because I do feel like this is a state Office of Elections issue, because they are running the show, even though they do defer to the counties for some things. Every time I would go back and forth with trying to find some information, I would always be referred back to the election office. So I really do think this is top down. We go through this many, many times, and I'm very happy that there was this investigation about these discrepancies. But the fact that Maui doesn't have any records at all, it really does put the question is, where would these ballots be coming from? I mean, if this was a bank account, that would be really important to a lot of people, I believe, if there was missing money, or the money wasn't accurately counted, or that account wasn't properly, accounted for. So what I would like to propose is that we continue with these investigations, getting to the bottom of how it could possibly be, based on the fact that counting ballots in an election, if we're going mail-in ballot wise, is the most important thing to make sure every one of those ballots are accounted for. And so there doesn't seem to be a good explanation so far as to why that would be the case. And it is not irrelevant. In my opinion, I think we need to go back to the paper ballots, one-day voting, because we're spending a lot of energy on other things when we could just simplify it again. And one last thing, there is Title II 11-154, which is records, etc. That is the law that says there has to be official observers present anytime ballots are handled. I did ask to be part of those teams going out, and as well as signature verification, and I was denied. I was an official observer that was denied those two things. So we have a lot of people wanting to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt.
The next testifier is Jamie Detweiler, followed by Tara Rojas.
Ms. Detweiler.
Aloha, thank you for this opportunity to testify. I too would like to commend the Permitted Interactive Group that conducted I'll just call it investigation in Kauai County. And I would also like to take this opportunity for the Hawaii County PIG to get the ball rolling on their actions because we'd like to see the results of Hawaii County. I also want to echo what Jennifer just said about serving as an official election observer. I served for Honolulu County as an official observer, and I too asked to witness signature verification, chain of custody, and was told that they do not allow that. We were able to come back if we made an appointment to watch the signature verification via a closed circuit TV. That is just unacceptable. And I would like, I stand on my written testimony where I cite the HRS and, sorry.
Thank you. Next testifier.
Next testifier is Tara Rojas, followed by Brett Colbis.
Ms. Rojas.
Okay. Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wait one sec. Okay, so aloha, Tara Rojas. Mahalo nui for all that did the work to bring this to our attention. And I want to put on the record numbers and the fact that basically we need full audit of every island, not just Kauai. We need transparency, integrity, and we need lawful elections. And I want to also put first, before the numbers, that is Kauai County, committing fraud on the public regarding keeping these chain of custody records and just the discrepancy in general. So if in Kauai, there were 26,414 mail ballots received and 27,075 million votes certified by the state, how do you account for then the 661 unexplained ballots? And the actual number would be 1,486 real error discrepancy count. In Kauai, the council race was decided by 108 votes. So this makes a huge impact, and different results would have been the results. So one entry, for example, was changed from 0 to 3004, and postal law showed that only 2,279 ballots were delivered that day, which means there are 725 unaccounted for ballots. 725 unaccounted ballots for just one entry. On another day, the count was bumped from 88 to 188 with no explanation. So that's 100 more. Here's the kicker, that Kauai issued certificates of election on December 2nd, 2024, even though the Supreme Court didn't rule on the contest until December 20th, 2024, a direct violation of HRS 11155. Kauai didn't allow observers to verify how many ballots were transferred from the county to the state. This allowed ballots to be overreported. So the so-called audit of mail-in votes relied only on electronic images, not physical ballots. So this also allowed ballots to be overreported because after collections, there was no physical inventory check. So the Hawaii State Supreme Court ruled that Kauai's records could not be relied on. And again, this is just one example of the fraud and corruption in Hawaii. So all in all to say, this needs to be corrected ASAP. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Rojas.
The next testifier is Brett Colbis, followed by Andrew Aker.
Aloha, Chair, committee
Aloha.
members. My name is Brett Colbis. I'm a Navy veteran living in Eva Beach. I had a couple of concerns with the presentation about the observers. I don't know if they reviewed the law on observers, but each county each political per law, and the state elections office collects the names of people that want to be considered official observers. Having not received or did anything with Honolulu County, I found it irresponsible to say that Honolulu County has no information or no guidance. They, as somebody who has dealt with the Honolulu County clerk regarding the elections and have been at the voting service centers and have watched the process and have been at the counting center, at the state capitol and watched that process. From my point of view, everything that was done at Honolulu County level or in Honolulu County was within the requirements of the law. Are there things that can be changed? Absolutely. The ability to have observers at the signature verification location without having to go through the state, that should be part of the issues. I think one of the things you need to do is get the law changed so that, or the city, start with the city and county charter, because the charter is coming up, doing charter amendments, that requires the counties to provide a pre-election report to you and a post-election report to you of the things that they have done, things that are going on, and what they are doing. It would behoove you, because a lot of this, and I agree with one of the previous speakers, when you talk to the counties, you get the runaround. They say, oh, that's a state thing. When you talk to the state, they say, oh, that's a county thing. That's the proverbial roundabout that everybody has to go through, unless you know somebody in one of those locations. And it's all about relationships with those people to find out what the real answers are, and due diligence on each of us as voters and citizens to understand our laws and how the process works. I yield. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Colbus.
The next testifier is Andrew Aker, followed by Mary Healy.
Hi guys, Andrew Aker here from Maui Freedom TV, disenfranchised private person here on the INA with you guys. How can I follow such eloquent speakers who are just so mellifluous with their words? Maybe I can do it by saying what everybody's actually thinking. Pigs can't fly, guys. You're just gonna piss off the pig. So, you know our friend BJ Penn, right? He said the will of the people is the law. And I think it was Ronald Reagan who said that when the government fears the people, then, then things are going to turn out better. So, I mean, volunteer, employee. Now's a good time to turn a new leaf, guys, and start blowing the whistle. Because people like me, we're not going to stop investigating you. And we're not going to stop working and working and working. And our kids are going to do it. And their kids are going to do it. Like, we just don't stop, because I will live and die for liberty. Live and die for this. So find it in your hearts. Guys, I appreciate that the pig happened, but we need to see some actual results. And plausible deniability is such a great thing. And I know how the masters of plausible deniability juggle and dance. But the dance is coming to an end, my friends. So, and I really, really do not appreciate censorship. So I created a little live stream simulcast on X and on YouTube. You can go to tinyurl.com/highchat808 and join the live chat, because we are censored here in the Zoom call. We can't chat with each other. We can't share information. And with this Zoom focus mode, you can only see the screen. Can anybody even see my screen right now? I don't know. Is it blocked? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, I've said all I got to say. I love all of you, even the ones that I'm really pissed off at. I love you all. We can resolve this peacefully. We can resolve this lawfully. And it can be really nice or it can be not so nice. But the choice is up to you guys. Aloha, ahui ho, malama pono.
Thank you, Mr. Aker.
Yes, sir.
The next testifier is Mary Healy, followed by Jamie Detweiler.
Hi, Mary Healy here. All the commissioners know me. I've been on these meetings for about a year now, trying to get accountability for the issues that I've seen with the Hawaii election system. I've called for Scott Nago in particular to be removed several times, and it's always fallen on deaf ears. I rewatched the meeting from 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't help but notice the chair mocking other members of the committee, openly saying when they brought up that they would like to have it put on this meeting, whether or not they could remove the chair, which has already been brought up in meetings that I've been to. And he's like, well, you don't have the votes. And how would you know that if, the votes are coming from each person without collusion? So it just goes to show you that these reports, I'm very grateful. I should say this. I'm very grateful that these pigs were brought about, because we've known that there's discrepancies, especially with the universal mail-in ballot system throughout the world. It's been known that they are open to fraud. It's something that is just, it happened during COVID and it needs to stop. And I'd just like to, reiterate that Scott Nago needs to be removed. And however this commission can do that, that's for the benefit of the people and for the benefit of the state as a whole, because the amount of votes that are coming in are enough to sway the elections and put corrupt individuals in and remove the ability for the people to pick their representatives. So, I just want to say that I just feel that at this time, I personally have seen you all violate the law. The sunshine law was violated. That's in the October meeting, and nothing happened. And the counties are breaking the law also. And I want to see something happen, because it's destroying the state of Hawaii. The exodus that's happening from Hawaii is directly on your shoulders. And as Commissioner Papalimo said, the only teeth this commission has is to look for a new chief elections officer and do it promptly. So thank you for hearing my testimony, and mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Healy.
The next testifier is Jamie Detweiler, followed by Tara Malia.
Welcome back, Jamie.
Aloha. Sorry, back on the island for big family reunions, lost connectivity. Where I left off was, holding people accountable to complete the PIG for Hawaii County, and also to request a PIG for Honolulu City County as well as Maui County. We deserve that too. There are problems with our chain of custody. Things are incompletely done. And again,
We're losing you again. I'd like to move on to the next testifier.
The next
administrative rules. That's what they're there for. Mahalo.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, the next testifier is Tara Malia, followed by Keikilani Ho.
Aloha, my kako. My name is Tara Malia Gregory. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So I've been on these meetings since 2023, and I'm currently the district chair for East Honolulu, Hawaii Kai, and also the regional vice chair for the Hawaii Republican Party. So thank you for the time. First, I want to thank Mr. Ralph Kushney. Because of his diligence, this has been brought to light. I happened to look over the documentation, and I'm glad that the PIG finally acknowledges that these issues are issues that need to be addressed. But for me and the constituents that I talk to and the people that I know, acknowledgement is not enough. Earlier, someone said that we shouldn't point the fingers, but accountability requires names and the people that are responsible. So the public deserves to know who is actually responsible, because from the top down, starting with Scott Nago, he's the chief election officer, he certified results with unaccounted ballots and broke the chain of custody. He submitted altered records to the Supreme Court after the fact and dismissed the public's concerns. For the Big Island, John Henricks, 19,042 mail-in ballots were unaccounted for. USPS says one thing and then the office says another thing. So where are the transfer logs? Kauai, Jade Fountain, Tanigawa, she issued certificates of election before the legal challenge was resolved. Entry logs were falsified and there's no dates and no signatures. For Maui, Kathy Kauhu, no USPS pickup records, no Dropbox documentation, no transfer logs, just one unverifiable printout. And Oahu, Rex Kudia, under Glenn Takahashi, observers weren't even allowed to count envelopes. Instead, they counted trays, and then were told to trust it. So this isn't an oversight. This is not a clerical error. This is systematic failure. It's neglect on purpose, and it's done with intent, and this is fraud. So I want to ask the commission, if you can get this down on documentation, what is the timeline for action? When will a full independent audit begin? When will subpoenas be issued for the chain of custody documentation? When will the counties be held to account for violating HRS 11-155 and HAR 3-177-453? I want to be on record in stating what this means according to the law. See, the violation is certifying results before reconciliation. That should be overturn of results. Missing or falsified chain of custody, that audit needs to be ordered. And because of fraud and public trust violation, public hearings need to be met. There's perjury, there's tampering. This is by law. And I just want to say in closing, I agree with Jennifer and Jamie. There needs to be a one-day voting. And there are an abundance of people that want to be observers and involved with this process. Mahalo for the time to speak.
Thank you.
The next testifier is Keikilani Ho, followed by Wallen Christian.
Aloha, my name is Keikilani Ho. Thank you for taking my testimony today. I want to start by thanking the Permitted Interaction Group for looking into the Kauai County election. The fact that the concerns we raised months ago turned out to be valid shows how important it is to investigate every county in Hawaii to protect the integrity of our elections. And that brings me to the Hawaii County election, where I noticed several things that seemed off. In District 4, Precincts 1, 2, and 3, Senator Mazie Hirono and Representative Jill Tokuda each received hundreds more votes than Kamala Harris, which is very unusual in a presidential election. And on the Republican side, it was the opposite. Trump received more votes than the GOP Senate and House candidates.
We're talking about the Kauai pig today.
Yes, and this is relevant. Till this day, we still have no data for District 4, Precinct 4, and we're also missing precinct data for Districts 5 and 7. It's been 9 months since the election, and this is unacceptable. All of this points to serious issues in our election process. Considering Scott Nago's history and the confirmed 600 ballot discrepancy in Kauai, I agree with Nolan and Andy. He should be removed. This election was clearly disorganized, and we need competent leadership in Hawaii. I also want to highlight the 19,042 ballot discrepancy in Hawaii County, where the state reported more ballots than the county. The same team that confirmed the Kauai issue identified this too. So I'd like to ask, where do we stand with the Hawaii County election? It's been 4 months since the Permitted Interaction Group was formed, and I think we all want answers. Lastly, I want to sincerely thank Commissioner Ralph Cushney for standing up for the people of Hawaii and bringing these discrepancies to light. The way that he's been treated by some of the board members and the article that Civil Beat wrote about him months ago is really disappointing, and I believe he deserves an apology, especially because we now know what he said turned out to be true. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Ho.
The next testifier is Walling Christian, followed by Megeso William Dennis.
Good morning. Can you folks hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. Sorry, this morning I was in an appointment, so I just got in my vehicle. I appreciate that we have this pig for Kauai. I believe it needs to be done for every county. Unfortunately, we hear all the numbers of the discrepancies of the numbers. And right now, because we're already in 2025, mid-2025, what I would like to see is that every county is performed on this investigative pig. I know it has to be separate. I understand that. But it needs to be set, and things need to change for the 2026 election. Months past, I had testified about the primary ballot, which was brought up by Shelby Billionaire on the Hawaii Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, where on the primary ballot, we have the issue of identifying yourself of what party that you are going to be voting for. With this pig, I hope that that can be taken into effect as well with those that are in this pig. I appreciate Ralph Cushney. We did go to court with him to stand in support with him in Kauai in May of this year. I am thankful that now we have an open door, that now we can see other counties is going to start being investigated as well. I think Honolulu County is it's going to be one of the biggest problems. Appreciate all of you for actually opening your ears to the people. I hope that not only you hear us, but you actually listen to us, and that you change this for the betterment, not only for those of us who are on here, and I heard someone say that for months, there's some of us that come on here for months. There's others that have been here longer, but this is for the future generation, guys. And that's what we're fighting for, because we can no longer deal with a corrupted state, a corrupted government, and a corrupted election. As far as Scott Nagle, he has failed at his job. I ask that this commission really think twice about having him remain on this, in this position. And one last thing I'd like to say, I do agree with Keikilani Ho. Ralph Cushney has been mistreated tremendously, and that needs to be addressed as well, and an apology needs to be made. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Christian.
The next testifier is Megeso William Dennis, followed by Tara Rojas.
Aloha, my name is Megeso William Dennis, and I thank the committee for this study. I support Ralph Cushney 100% in the claims that he brought before the commission, the courts, and the public, and I thank the public for their testimony today. I have 20 years experience in mark sense recognition technology for a Fortune 500 company. Listening to the testimony over time regarding the failure to do proper audits and equipment performance stems from the path for the need for mail-in ballots, which is the best tool for voter fraud and election interference. We need in-person, same-day voting with voter ID. Until then, I am requesting and advising Scott Yago and members who were involved in election interference in the 2020-22 elections resign immediately and lawyer up due to their lack of integrity and the dishonoring of their oath. They have knowingly and willingly, by their actions, participated in the overthrow of the Democratic Republic under Title 18, Section 2385, and in support of the COVID-19 scam and the use of the bioweapon that infringed upon and usurped the rights of the people, resulting in crimes against humanity. We demand fair elections, and it's not worth keeping your job for money, position, or power. Put your family first. as you are just a number to those who deceive and control the process. Do the right thing to maintain your own morals, values, and principles. Resign today and whistleblow on your puppet masters. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
The next testifier is Tara Rojas, followed by.
She should be last after the others, as she's testified once already.
Okay, then we'll go with Susan Strom, followed by Bob McDermott.
Thank you.
Aloha and good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Susan Strom, very concerned citizen. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak briefly. I also want to thank everyone for bringing us this far with the pig, but now we need to keep that momentum going and expand it. What I don't understand is the discussion of a premature dissolution of the pig. I believe we should have a pig committee operating on each island, every island or county that illustrates voter anomalies, and that those pigs continue to operate until full transparent resolution is achieved and there are full answers, full accountability. Ralph Cushnie's continued testimonies have been just completely disregarded and, just on so many levels ignored. And, we really need someone powerful like that to step forth and help with us, with the people, to understand what's been going on, because this is outrageous. It's outrageous just witnessing the disregarding of the committee and their behavior towards these concerns that are hard data. And you've heard so much testimony of my colleagues before me, and I'm so grateful to see so many people come forward. As far as an audit, many constituents don't trust a county or internal audit for the obvious reasons. We need an external independent audit. It's really the only way to go. I understand the wheels of bureaucracy turn slowly, but we cannot afford to drag this out any longer. We need real momentum, and we need a simple remedy as far as paper ballots, voter ID. Obviously the machines are just a travesty. That's been proven time and time, not just in Hawaii, but all over the country. So really, there's simple resolutions. There's ways we can curtail this immediately, but also we need short-term results, not long-term results. We don't need to be dragging this out. We need accountability. And I also support this. Scott Nago should step down or be dismissed from his position. He has represented us with total indifference and denial. And so I think it's really like that, get out of the way, get on board and step down, because we need resolutions. This cannot drag out any longer. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Strom.
The next testifier is Bob McDermott, and we have repeat testifiers Tara Rojas and Shelby Billionaire next.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Bob. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Hey, I want to thank all the commissioners. You have a very important job. You're duly appointed commissioners to look out for the public's interest. So I want to thank you for taking that very seriously. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Cushnie. His work is bulletproof. He has been ridiculed by certain corners of the community. He didn't deserve it. He does not speculate. I have asked him about his numbers. He doesn't speculate. He said, this is what I have. This is the data. That's it. He's a data guy. And finally, as a candidate, every vote is important. We had a race here about 2 miles from my house that was decided by about 9 votes. And it's a double recount. And how do you think that fella feels this morning who lost, knowing that on the beautiful, lovely Isle of Kauai, they were several hundred votes off? One can only imagine what Oahu looks like. 1988 Democratic primary in Kalihi was a tie. Romy Kachola and Connie Chung, a tie. So I think I made the case in recent history that every vote counts, and we owe it to those candidates to get the best count possible. And I thank Mr. Cushing for doing that. And any audit, I would humbly ask that you use the paper ballots and not images. Images can be manipulated. Thank you very much. Aloha and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott.
The next testifier is Tara Rojas, followed by Shelby Billionaire.
Aloha. My last comments regarding this indiscrepancy of the election votes, the count on Kauai. How can we, I just want to process and protocol, first of all. If all board commissioners are not, again, attentively listening, then you can step down because that is not fulfilling the needs of the people. The people need commissioners who are listening to their concerns. So, for example, we appreciate, that you're understanding when Commissioner Papalimu had mentioned, she mentioned, the few moments that she needs to go off camera is because of her grandchild, which is understandable. You need to, one, I think, establish the protocol that all commissioners should be front and center at the camera. Where is Peter Young? Haven't seen him at all, his face, this whole meeting. Claire McAdam, is Claire McAdam, if she's gonna just always vote against the people and then not even have the decency and respect to come to the camera, we can see her forehead. I mean, how is the trust of the community going to be taken seriously if you're not even showing your face to the camera? And so this is last meeting, all meeting, this is this meeting. So process and protocol, you need to be front and center. And chair, you need to call it out that all commissioners come on camera so that we can see that they're actually listening to the people's voice. And so going back to this, I mean, look, she's still not even there. We need to know that commissions are really there for the people. But you need to remove Scott Nagle. You need to have, again, this investigation for every island, for all of Hawaii. And accountability needs to happen. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Rojas.
The next testifier is Shelby Billionaire, followed by Robin.
Shelby, do you have new points to mention?
Yes, I do actually. So I want to thank you
Please.
guys all to come back in. If you guys can hear me, thank you all. For last time we had the meeting, it was only 3 minutes because I had a lot of people call me after the meeting from Big Island. I wanted Jarek Maderos, Keone Painkiller. Some people didn't even know we had a meeting today to follow up, Chair Curtis. So a lot of people from the Big Island wanted accountability, but I know how you guys operate without it being on the agenda. And this pig is only specific about Kauai. I wanted to give more time for them to come in because I know they're at work. They're in Hilo. I wanted people from the Big Island to chime in because if you guys do that 3 minute, 2 minute stuff, it's done. I'm definitely not going to repeat myself or the points. You already got the email. I just want to re-emphasize, I do not trust the President of the United States. I do not trust the FBI, the DOJ, CIA, NSA, FBI, or Honolulu Police County because I did report the federal fraud crimes last year.
You're a little off
earlier
topic.
Oh, it's still about this topic for your HR regarding the pig because I reported all these crimes to the FBI. I did report this all to DOE, Department of Law Enforcement. I took everything that Ralph Kushner said, you guys said, and now we're actually having results. But I want the time left to go back to other people on the Big Island because we have to address these issues on Maui. You saw Andrew Aker come up and other counties. If you're getting 19,042 ballots over on the Big Island, how the hell is that possible? You already confirmed 661. The public has seen a shift. Now you guys are actually helping out the public, what we've been calling out since years ago. Walden Christian came on, all these other people. So I'm going to yield the rest of the time because I want to stall actually for Jarek, Keone, Painkillers, and more people from the neighbor islands to come onto the Zoom. Because last meeting, they were all on YouTube. We had 200-something people there. I'm going to tell you, it's very popular because you guys made the news. I was filming you guys on Instagram. The last testimony, if phone overheated, that's dead. I'm still filming you guys live on Facebook of the Zoom, of you guys, of me filming you. So yes, it's all going out there. We love you all. I'm going to spread the time back to you guys. Have a good day, and hopefully we can get stuff done and get pragmatic results for our future generations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next testifier is Robin, followed by Representative Diamond Garcia.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you see me? I'm sorry.
What's your full name?
Robin McCreary.
Thank you.
Hi. Wait. I would like to, number one, ask I know a lot of people are not getting paid for this position, correct?
Yeah, we're
Anybody?
volunteers.
Okay, so I would like to ask anybody that doesn't, I mean, you're not getting paid for this. So I think you guys should step down, except for Ralph. Ralph is really fighting for the people. And I just feel that it's just, you guys aren't being fair, and I want the paper ballots because I really think that's the only way to track it and make sure that everybody is, everything's being fair. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Robin.
The next testifier is Representative Diamond Garcia, followed by Glenda Nogami Strofert.
Aloha Chair, aloha Commissioners. Thank you so much for allowing me to testify. Just want to commend the work of Commissioner Cushney in the recent weeks and months in getting to this point. And thank you, Commission, for allowing this PIG to really show the truth of what's happening across our state. Whether you are a Democrat appointed commissioner or a Republican appointed commissioner, we all should want transparency in the election system. And if there is a place to bring concerns, to ask questions, it is the Elections Commission. What keeps the continuity of our democratic republic is the trust in the election system. This PIG so far has shown that there has been discrepancies, and it should be the goal of this commission to ensure that there is complete trust from the public, from the people of Hawaii. So I would urge you, Chair and Commissioners, to keep these investigations going. Again, if there is no trust from the public, then what's the point? So thank you all. And Commissioner Cushney, thank you for your work, sir. Aloha.
Thank you, Representative Garcia.
The next testifier is Glenda Nogami Strofert, followed by Kay Aloha.
There you go.
All right. This is just to let you know, this is Glenda Nogami Strofert. I'm from Kauai. I was one of the official observers during the counting, and this is to let you know that from my perspective, there was full chain of custody from the time that we got the ballots to the time that they were reported. At every step along the way, there were at least 2 people to sign off on it, to observe the whole moving of boxes or ballots from one table to another, and for everything else that was going on in there. There was always at least 2 people that were signing for it. Those were not necessarily the same 2 people, so we would always have accountability on that, but there are names attached to it. And the counting machines were also reviewed every once in a while and audited. Random boxes of ballots were taken out to be hand counted to see what the numbers of ballots were in that box and compared it to what was done by the counting machines. So the counting machine was accurate, as well as the chain of custody. And that's the things that I wanted you to know, that on Kauai, there were observers at every stage, and I cannot imagine that there was anything that was done. There was full transparency and there was full accountability throughout the entire process. But I wanted to let you know that it's not as though there are people out there trying to do nefarious deeds out there. We're not doing that. So thank you for your time, and I yield my time.
Thank you, Ms. Strofert.
The next testifier is Kay Aloha, followed by Joe Akana.
Aloha, and good morning to all of you.
Aloha.
I just want to recognize the committee and all that's been going on to correct all that has happened. But more importantly, I want to thank the people that have given their testimony and done their due diligence in exposing the corruption and stating it here clearly, where you all can hear. Those are who have volunteered into these positions. And thank you for doing that, because it has educated me. I have not been on these meetings just once in a while. So I'm very grateful to hear all that we the people are saying, those who are concerned and love this Aina, which I hope you all do love the Aina and the people on the land. I want to take us a little bit higher than where we are at. In Revelation, it talks, God wants to have a communication with John, and he says, come up higher so that I can show you some things. And that's where I want to bring us right now. There is an umbrella over all of Hawaii, and it's a declaration over Hawaii that we are all accountable to, not just you, but us people too. And this accountability is, I believe, is spoken over us because when the enemy comes in like a flood, this standard is raised up, and the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him who put them to flight. And that standard, just as a reminder in humility, I say to you, ua mau ke ea, o ka aina i ka pono. Ua mau ke ea, o ka aina i ka pono. Ua mau ke ea, o ka aina i ka pono. The life of the land that you live on, that you eat from, that you enjoy, that you relax in, that you retired in, is perpetuated in righteousness. And God is watching over us. And just as he held the storm yesterday, that we were so threatened by as we saw traffic, we couldn't even move, some people. We were stuck in traffic, everyone going home to their loved ones. He is watching. He is watching, and I just want to remind you of that. We love you, all of you who give of your time, even the legislators. But God is watching. So, the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you, Kealoha.
The next testifier is Joe Akana, followed by Jennifer Kabuan. I do want to mention that we have repeat testifiers, Walling Christian and Jennifer Hunt.
Thank you. Morning, Joe.
Aloha, Commissioner. Hope I pray all you guys are well. Glad to hear everybody survived. Got out of the traffic, so to speak. So real quick, in case you guys don't know, I ran for Congress in 2020 and 2022. And in a PBS Insights interview at the time, we discussed this very issue about having the election integrity. We discussed what was going on, and at the time it was verified that Scott Noggle himself said there were over almost 100,000 ballots that were improperly either sent to the wrong address or sent to dead people. And I don't know if that thing has actually been corrected or not, but 100,000 ballots in any direction on any election can seriously alter the outcome of an election. I'm glad to see that Ralph is actually pointing this out. The numbers that they're looking at, he said, is about 600 and something that were on Kauai, 19,000 on the Big Island. You had no recognition in Maui, and then on Oahu, there's also no what I'm going to say, there's no way to verify what they're talking about or anything's missing. Is there a potentiality that, yes, there could be a lot of miscounted or misrepresented votes? 100%. 100% you could have that. With 100,000 votes going anywhere one way or the other, yes, you could have a serious misrepresentation. I think what Ralph has done is just basically touched on the iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg of what is really happening in the election system and in the process of what's going on. Again, I applaud you guys for what you're doing. I applaud the commission for what they're doing here. At the same time, we got to get this right? Again, could 100,000 votes have affected an election? Absolutely. Has the voter polls been fixed? Don't know. Haven't heard anything about that. But we know that the voter rolls were messed up. He admitted it himself on TV. Well, if you admit it, did we fix it? Have we gone through the process of trying to fix it? If you took that same ratio, I think Ralph said is about 2% of what he was talking about on a Big Island was 19,000. I mean, that's a lot of percentages of missed votes or miscounted votes or potentiality for fraud in a counting of a vote system. So yes, it's there. I'm glad we're going to do it. I think we need to keep on doing the pig, but need to do it like everyone else, several other people have said, do it on every single island and do it from every angle we possibly can. I appreciate your time, and look forward to hearing whatever anybody else has got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Akana.
The next testifier is Jennifer Cabuan, followed by Gary Cordery.
Hello, hi. My name is Jennifer Cabuan. I've testified in a lot of these meetings because I've been involved since 2020 election. I believe all of this. I thank Ralph Cushney for pushing the agenda to get all of these this information and details out into the public, because we've been testifying over and over and over and nothing has been done for years. I can't believe it's years. First of all, I believe that the whole problem could have been avoided. We didn't even need a pig if in the first place you followed the law and did a proper audit using paper ballots. That process has still not taken place to this date, and I don't know why you can't just take it back to the basics and follow the rules that you have set up in the first place. I think that would avoid a whole bunch of issues. And secondly, I'd like to ask that you would submit this pig investigation as a formal job performance for Scott Nagle, because I believe if you're not doing your job, you should be replaced, because elections are too important to just let them be irrelevant. So I ask that you would seriously consider adding this Kauai pig, and also doing further investigations on Oahu and Big Island and Maui, etc. And I also ask that in looking forward to the next upcoming election that we do not do ranked choice voting, because in that case, there would be no way to audit the vote. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
The next testifier is Gary Cordery, followed by Walling Christian.
Good morning.
Aloha, Chair Curtis and members. Recently looking at the Heritage Foundation's election integrity scorecard, Hawaii ranks 51st. It has the lowest ranking for election integrity in the nation. This has been going on since 2016. The data is available for your review. It speaks loudly to the ongoing unwillingness of this commission to exercise this responsibility. Scott Nagle, director, is not being held to account for his behavior in leading this state with election integrity. And I'm not, there will be many testifiers who will speak eloquently about what's not working, about solutions to the problem. They're not actually difficult to understand. They're really quite simple. They're not complex. I'm here not to speak about those matters. Those have been for you, have been before you for commission meeting after commission meeting. I'm going to speak clearly to your conscience. I'm going to ask you to consider the nature of your conscience when you continually engage in an unwillingness to be transparent before the people. If you think that the searing of your conscience to do what is right, to bring transparency and accountability to a system that's designed to support the people's voice, if you think that that doesn't have implications on your family, in your heart, in the spirit, I can tell you, your times on this commission will come to a close. Just simply, you will time out. But the impact of the way you're positioning yourself and relating to what's before you will continue in your lives. This idea, this declaration that we shall have a state perpetuated in righteousness falls clearly in this category. And I can tell you, whether you're religious or not, God will not be mocked. We will reap what we sow. It's very clear. I don't want to make this like to a religious conversation. I'm speaking and asking you, for your sake, for the sake of your family, your Ohana, not about the state, not about the protocols and principles of this commission. I'm asking you to stop. That the grace extended to you can change now. You can change now. You can make a decision right now and say, let's open the door and let's look at all the information that's been requested over and over. I submit this to you not as an angry citizen, an exasperated candidate. I submit this to you in a greater context and ask that you would consider and change, because if you don't, there are consequences. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
The next testifier is Walling Christian, followed by Jennifer Hunt.
Good morning. So sorry, I forgot to mention and put on record that I also would, and I've testified to this, that I would also like to ask that, well, I won't even say ask. I do believe that the right thing to do is to do away with mail-in and electronic voting, and that we do in-person voting. And I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Christian.
The next testifier is Jennifer Hunt, followed by Brett Colbis.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak again. I did want to address just one small matter that is obviously related to HAR 3-177. Hawaii Revised Statute 11 it's Title 2, 11-154 is records, blah, 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 etc. And it does refer to observers needing to be present anytime those ballots are touched. So an earlier speaker was talking about how everything, in the counting center is on the up and up. And I highly agree with that. We do not, the observers, meaning we, the observers, do not see what happens after somebody places their ballot in a drop box or the post office box. They're picked up. We don't have any chain of custody anywhere near where you would count those ballots in those places and have observers observe how many there are and then write that down and people sign off on it. They go to some place, a black hole in the clerk's office, and we don't see them again until they enter the counting center. So there's a whole bunch of nodes there that are not watched by observers. And so I do understand why people who are in the counting center see all the processes, and it does look very good. Once it goes into that computer, we don't have any idea what happens. There's no way to verify anything. So for people who don't understand that, it's understandable that they don't understand, but it is a problem when from the time someone drops their ballot off, we need to know how many of those ballots come in, where they're going. They need to be tracked, and we need to know those numbers. And we have no way of knowing. They could be fake ballots for all we know. And that's the problem. We need to verify the entire chain of custody from start to finish. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next testifier is Brett Colbis, followed by repeat testifier Megeso William Dennis.
Yes, I just wanted to add one thing. There's a lot of people calling for you guys to do more investigations. Well, I say you take it further and you request from the Attorney General under HRS 2811 that she institute or assign a special either investigator or prosecutor to address the election integrity issues that everybody's talking about. Under that law, she can appoint somebody that is outside of her, outside of the AG's office, so it can be a private citizen. I yield.
Thank you, Brett.
The final testifier is Megeso William Dennis.
Yes, thank you. My name is Megeso William Dennis. I just wanted to follow up. I mentioned earlier I had 20 years experience in the field of optical character and mark sense recognition technology, which is similar to the Hart InterCivic voting machines. In September and October of 2022, I submitted 3 FOIA or UIPA requests regarding the audit process and equipment logs of the Hart InterCivic equipment. I requested reviewing the source code, the equipment maintenance logs, the hardware and software updates that were installed since 2020, the readability statistics of each machine before and after the software and hardware updates were implemented, the measurement of the ballots, the document feeder reliability, machines equipped with modems, and a remote Microsoft software application that could flip the votes. For the record, all of these FOIA requests went unanswered. I thank you again for your time. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your concern.
It looks like we have an additional hand up. Wendy Willis Moore.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my 2 cents is I remember many years ago not getting Republican ballots due to Scott Nago saying he ran out and didn't answer his phone for many hours. This corruption is nothing new. There's a reason that Hawaii is deemed the most corrupt state in the nation, and the elections are a big part of it. You guys need to stop messing around now. There's new people in charge, and I want to see people not removed, but prosecuted after they're removed. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
It looks like we have an additional hand up. We have April Lee.
Miss Lee, you have to unmute yourself. Miss Lee?
Okay, Chair, did you want to move on? There's another hand up.
No, we'll take this Kalei for governor of Hawaii as the last one.
Okay.
Aloha kako. Thank you for everybody's testimony.
Kalei, what's your full name?
That you have gotten all of this completed with the Elections Commission and been able to go through this. I ran for governor against Josh Green and Gary Corduroy in 2022. I won my election and I was not put on the mail-out ballots. So in 2024, Joe and I decided we weren't going to run again because people didn't take this seriously. We are very thankful for all the work that you guys are doing today. Yes, Ralph needs an apology from those who have said bad things about him. But I really feel like listening to all of you guys right now, that the course is changing for the state. That before the 2026 election, there is going to be more accountability because of all the efforts that you guys are doing and taking place in these meetings. I too believe that Scott Nago top down should remove himself, should be prosecuted. I believe Joe's election was stolen from him in 2020. I believe other people's elections since the primary ballot was basically the exact opposite of what the rules and statutes said. Even that should be considered in 2022 to be looked at, but we all need to move forward as well. And so I just wanted to thank you guys for everything that you guys are doing and continue to go on. Mahalo.
Thank you. Let's try Mary Healy again.
Okay, Mary Healy.
Hi, thank you for hearing my testimony. I know that you said you weren't going to hear any more testifiers, but I would just like to reiterate that Scott Nago really should be fired by the commission. He doesn't need to remove himself. There's ample evidence through all these complaints, whether it's the state of Hawaii voting or how other testifiers have brought up the implications that there could be CCP members serving in the elections office with Scott Nago. There's just so many reasons why we, as the citizens of this state, are unsatisfied with the election process. We want to see our voting centers opened up. We want to see accountability. We want to see paper ballots used for the audits, not photos of the ballots that can be manipulated. As a whole, the country has become aware of the situation with the integrity issues, and each state has their own issues, and Hawaii is just the biggest example. As previous testifiers have stated, it's ranked 51st for a reason. And also, you know, we only have a very short amount of time until the midterms. And I brought this up in a previous testimony that I gave to the commission. Like I said, I've come here a lot trying to move the commission to do something. And, you know, from today, we have 461 days until our midterm elections. And I think, as just speaking for myself, I'm very unsatisfied with the governor of Hawaii. You know, all the sirens going off yesterday, that's great and everything, but what about when the whole Maui fires were happening? I understand that that's not a tsunami, but, you know, he was off island. So how could he do anything to make sure that those citizens, and he is the governor of the biggest mass fire casualty in modern American history. And I believe I speak for a lot of the citizens that are very upset with this particular individual for a number of other reasons too, that we want to know that when the governor race comes up, that he can be removed by the people voting for who they want. Thank you.
You're going to try April Lee again?
Yes, we'll give her a shot.
Thank you.
There-
Thank you
there
so
you go.
much. Yes. And I agree with the previous testifier. The ultimate proof really is, and thank you for your volunteer efforts and your sincere hearts open to what we're saying today, because I have been on election commissions in more than this state, and I have been part of the ACLU, and I am now part of civil defense and FEMA, and we were really, really busy and tired after the last 24 hours. But, you know, we in Hawaii are at the bottom of the list of election protocols for honesty, clarity, transparency. And I think Tara did a fantastic evidence. Jamie, Ms. Ho, Surfing for Truth, Ralph Kushney, thank you so much. Basically, these broader issues that are not just affecting the pig on Kauai are really a reflection of every county. As we observers, we know that you have a difficult job because this system has been in place since the whole kingdom was taken over. It's very much kind of a aggressive type of situation where we do have Scott, who is aggressively supported by the governor, and we do have the elections that are basically the money system. And that's where we also have to figure out how to change this. We need and have tried for a very long time to get publicly funded elections. That in itself would do so much and make your job so much easier. So I do agree with the former speakers that the two-party system, where we have to claim our party before we can even vote individually, is definitely absolutely sabotaging individual choice. You know, a candidate that's not a Democrat will become a Democrat, and that is really ridiculous. So I've seen so many candidates turn into the overreaching power center because they didn't have a choice, and it led and has led to corruption and moral decay within our system. When we need an entire revamp with these publicly funded elections, we are going to have to work together. we are now in that canoe, and we hopefully will continue to bruise our muscles to make this thing work, because that's totally what we are committed to, who came onto this today. Because yes, it was very difficult to find. Very few people found it. And yet we are here, and the quality of consciousness has upheld the moral quality that we expect from you, and we know our state can attain, because we are Hawaii. Aloha.
Thank you.
Chair, it looks like we have an additional hand up.
Well, let's listen to Fernandez.
Okay.
Okay, and for the record, it's Star Fernandez. Thank you for your
Star,
time.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. I have helped back in, I think, the Bush, Gore, and also the following election. So way back then, and it'll make my point for Kauai. I was an observer. We ran a tight ship, meaning the people that actually did do the work, we observed that. I, as an observer, observed people counting ballots. And my point is with Kauai, because the way it's run currently, I always hear, well, there's not enough people to do a mail-in ballot, but because the precincts are divided, because we had precincts way back when, and also before the 2020 election, the 2020 election, there are enough people who do want to help and work in the precincts. And so I really do call for just having one-day voting and in person. I would love to have the day off too as well. But like I said, from my experience, for the time I helped back then, there were sufficient amount of people ready and raring to go. And this was Democrats and Republicans. And I don't know if there was independents, but we were all there ready to go to help. I've been to these meetings, not every single one of them. I've only started back in January. And when I did first start, it was like 6 hours or 5 to 6 hours long. It was really crazy. And I do call for the resignation of Scott Nago. It's unacceptable what's taken place over many years under his leadership. And I do ask the commission, it always seems to be like it's 5-4, not to remove him and so forth. There's been calling at the time of a meeting for the resignation. And then there's been I don't understand all the rules and logistics, but you can't, I've heard the gavel been pounded and saying that, we can't do that right now at this meeting. But I call for resignation right now in this meeting. And I know Scott Nago is in this meeting. He's either 0E001 or 0E007. And so, he's listening in, and that's not transparency to me. If this is supposed to be transparency, he's the head of this commission, I suppose, then he should show his face. And so anyway, I call for the commission right now to make a vote to have Scott Nago fired from his job. Anyway, thank you so much for your time and for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Star.
Chair, there are no additional testifiers.
Thank you. As mentioned previously, I'm going to use the same format with 3 minutes for each of the commissioners. I would ask each of the commissioners to express their thoughts on this report. And I would start from the Big Island with and we'll go over 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes until we exhaust ourselves. I would ask Ms. Papalimo to comment.
Chair, sorry, this is Jordan Singh. I just wanted to, I think that I've advised this before, but as you know, the requirements of HRS 92 2.5, any discussion can only be held at the next meeting. So any discussion by the board right now at this meeting would be a violation of the Sunshine Law.
I disagree with that. And I'm going to continue with the discussion from the commissioners on this report. And starting with Ms. Papalimo.
Aloha, thank you, Chair. I appreciate that. I read through all of the stuff that was sent out for this meeting, and I was appalled. And I really, Peter, I just want to give you kudos for getting your job done, for meeting with the people on your team, and for issuing your report and the recommendations. We're going to do exactly the same on our pig. And so I'm hoping, I have a question. Did your pig subpoena?
This is your 3 minutes. You can make a statement. You'll have a chance to respond, and Peter will have a chance to answer your question. But right now, this is your 3 minutes. Please go ahead with your opinions.
Okay, so no questions at this time. Is that what you're saying, Chair?
Well, you can ask questions, but Peter will have an opportunity when it's his turn to respond, as you will have an opportunity the next go around to respond to any questions that arise.
Thank you. I get it. I think it's something that we knew was occurring, and we knew what was happening, and there was no accountability of the clerks for these errors or discretions. My concern is not just with the integrity of the people's vote and the fact that the office finds it irrelevant, is that this becomes a fiscal problem. Not so bad when it's 700, but when it's 19,000, you have to understand that there is an account that the U.S. Postal Service takes money out of for the ballots that they process. So if we have 19,000 mail-in ballots unaccounted for, did they take out money for those ballots? Or if they didn't take out money for those ballots and the Office of Elections found those 19,000 ballots, did they make an effort to pay the post office? Now we get into fiscal fraud. This is huge. And I think what we need to understand as we move forward with our pig and look at how this pig was done, it really brings up more questions that we need to ask. And maybe it will be time for us, our pig, to use our subpoena power to get questions answered. So this is my opinion on what can be done because of this permitted interaction group and their recommendations to us.
Thank you.
So for their recommendation,
you'll get another 30 minutes later.
Thank you.
Or 33 minutes.
Thank you.
Adam, what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Chair Curtis. Well, and also thank you, Chair Young, for the pig report that you provided. I'm happy to discuss all of the findings from our pig when we have them. I understand that we don't have a response back yet from County of Hawaii, and I think it would be useful to discuss both results when we have both the reports at the same time. And also bearing in mind that the legal advice that we've just received from the state attorney to our commission, that we shouldn't really be discussing these now as well because it's a violation of sunshine laws. But I just wanted to say thank you for the report, and I've also read the response from Start-Naga, and I think it would be wise, in my opinion, to consider both results of this pig and the pig for the County of Hawaii at the same time, and then we could have a full response from all counties and the Office of Elections at the same time. And I think that would be more beneficial for everyone. I appreciate the fact that's obviously going to delay things, but unfortunately, that's my opinion.
Thank you, Claire. Dylan. Technical difficulties.
There we go. I had a prompt to unmute.
There you go.
I just had a point of clarification or information. Is this meeting considered the second meeting of the pig where presentation only is made, or are we on the third meeting where deliberation and action can be can be made.
No, this is discussion. The next meeting, any motions and actions as a result of the report will be made. And that'll be at the next meeting. Today, we're just discussing. We do not have an opportunity to make any motions. Your opinion, Dylan.
Yeah, I have several experiences with different pigs on different commissions, so I'm going to be a little reserved on discussing this because I don't want my personal contribution to this discussion to devoid the work of the pig in any way or to be a violation of sunshine law in any way. I'll just quickly say I do agree with the report. I agree with every recommendation. Chair, I'd like to formally request, as we've heard from the public, that we do investigate every county. It should not just be reserved to Kauai County and Hawaii County. I do want to emphasize that the responsibility of this does rely with the Office of Elections. It cannot be deferred and delegated to the counties as if it's all their responsibility. Scott Nagle should be held accountable. And to that point, I would also like to request on behalf of the public, as you've heard in testimony, that on continued agendas, we should always have the evaluation of the chief election officer perpetually on our agendas. And that'll be my comments for today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dylan. Jeffrey Osterkamp.
Yes, I'd like to thank the members of the PIG for all the hard work they put in. But given the guidance that we've received from Deputy Attorney General Cheng, I don't have further comment at this time.
Yeah, I believe this meeting is for the discussion and the next meeting is for any decision making, as I understand it. Thank you, Jeffrey. Are you done?
Yep.
Peter Young.
In deference to Deputy Attorney General Cheng, I'm going to reserve my comments for a future meeting. I do appreciate the commentary and the accolades for the PIG members, and we hopefully will get to a result soon. Thank you.
Mr. Cushney.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thanks for the PIG's hard work. And I'd like to point out a few things that they missed inadvertently. But I'd like to start with is the cover-up is worse than the crime. And I hope that people start stepping forward to tell the truth as the Office of Elections narrative unravels. The county and the state records show that thousands of ballots were inserted electronically with no paper trail. Before the 2024 election, I wrote to the County of Kauai that we expected official chain of custody records in compliance with HAR 3-177453. After asking for the records before, during, and after the election, they were finally given to me on November 1st. And this timeline is important. That's 16 days after the election. We then submitted the records that the county gave to us to the state Supreme Court on November 25th, showing the major discrepancies in the collections and counting of ballots from the records that the county gave us. On December 2nd, the county clerk issued certificates of election for the county council. On December 4th, the county revised and resubmitted collections records to the court. These revised records were falsified by adding fraudulent ballots on top of already missing ballots for a total of more than 2,000 unaccounted for ballots. The number of mail ballot envelopes reported do not match the mail receipts. The Kauai County Council race was decided by 100 votes. So let me say this again. The County of Kauai issued certificates of election for the council before they revised the chain of custody documentation submitted to the Supreme Court. The county committed perjury to the Supreme Court, and it is illegal under HRS 92F-13 to falsify public records. Then the county dismissed its own records as unofficial. If they were unofficial, why were they falsified and resubmitted to the Supreme Court after the election was certified? This shows that they were trying to make their records match the results and not the other way around. Certificates of elections were issued before the county replied to the Supreme Court. Certificate dates were issued on December 2nd. The county submitted a motion to dismiss on December 4th. Council members were inaugurated on December 5th, and the election, my case in the Supreme Court, was dismissed by the court on December 20th.
Thank you,
It all
Ralph.
shows.
You'll get another chance. Lindsay.
Thank you. First of all, it's kind of disturbing that that Chair, you and the attorney are not on the same page about what we're allowed to do and say at this meeting. I would think that that would be straightened out before the meeting, because that certainly puts a damper on people's willingness to speak, and therefore, for us to make any kind of progress at all. I understand we're not taking any action at this meeting. That's very clear, but it seems like we should have a clear direction about whether or not we can express an opinion at this meeting. I'm going to go ahead and say a couple of things in response to testimony. I just want to say to Glenda Nogami Strufert, who was the official observer and said there was certainly nothing going wrong in the counting center. I was also an official observer in the counting center, and I agree. We didn't say that there was anything untoward happening in the counting center. The whole thrust of our report is what came into the counting center from the county. There were many points at which there could have been observers and there were not. And so that needs to be clearly understood. We're not talking about what we were allowed to observe within the counting center, but what came into the counting center that had already been through several stages of collection and review and packing and so forth. So that needs to be understood. The other thing is, although we haven't seen Mr. Nago at this meeting, he did submit testimony. And if you read his letter and looked at his chart, you might think that he addressed everything that we brought up and that now there's no issue. However, this is a beautiful chart, but it's backup, please. It's meaningless. I have zero confidence in these numbers because just saying so, just putting these numbers on a piece of paper does not mean that they are true. So we have to see what's really going on. These numbers are not verified. That's what we're asking for, verification, so that.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Reconciled.
I'm going to take my 3 minutes. I'm going to read a statement here. Mail-in voting began in 2020, initially as a pilot program on Kauai. However, the legislature made the decision to implement it statewide. Since then, we've transitioned from same-day in-person precinct voting to an all-mail-in voting system. This marked the first phase of what many consider an experiment, new for voters, officials, and the system as a whole. Through ongoing analysis, we can refine the process, enhancing both transparency and public trust. Unfortunately, rising political polarization had made these conversations contentious. The integrity of election officials is being openly questioned, creating an environment where productive problem solving is difficult. Yet we all share a common goal: honest, secure, and efficient elections. The legislature has placed its trust in the U.S. Postal Service to handle the delivery and return of ballots, both voted and unvoted, making them a trusted agent. Similarly, the Office of Elections and County Clerks appoint trained election officers to administer the voting process, also trusted agents. The main source of concern regarding chain of custody seems to be the use of ballot drop boxes. Voted ballots placed in these boxes are collected and delivered to county election officers. Historically, chain of custody has involved civilians transporting ballots between clerk's offices to precinct polling places and to counting centers. However, unlike UPS facilities, which are more numerous and regulated, drop boxes have introduced an additional layer that some voters consider unnecessary. Eliminating them would ensure that only designated trusted agents handle ballots throughout the process. There are many more post offices than there are drop boxes. Drop boxes are redundant. While there are other important issues to address, removing drop boxes would directly resolve the most vocal concern, chain of custody. Let's set aside division and work together to resolve these perceived conflicts in good faith. Thank you. So we'll go around again and we'll start with Dylan in Maui. You have anything to offer, Dylan?
Yes, Chair. I just want to, again, formally request, everything that was shared today is not isolated. Of course, I'm chairing the other PIG that's investigating anomalies on Hawaii County and also, again, Kauai County. And I just want to say, again, that's not isolated. A lot of the findings presented would be echoed in our presentation. And so I'd like to formally request that at the next available meeting, at the very next meeting, immediate meeting, our PIG be given the opportunity to present it formally to the board.
So you have your report completed?
We're finalizing it, and we request to make that formal presentation at the next meeting.
Okay, we'll receive your report at the next meeting. Peter Young, do you have anything else?
No.
Jeffrey Osterkamp?
No.
Back to Ralph.
Yes, Chair, thank you. So what I'm saying here is really important. The county gave me chain of custody documentation, which showed over 4,000 ballots were inserted electronically. They did not revise their chain of custody records until after the election was certified. That means that they certified the election based on the original chain of custody documentation that they gave me. They committed perjury in the state Supreme Court. They altered the chain of custody documentation that they gave me, and they inserted documentation for mail receipts. And you can look at the mail receipts. They did not receive that many ballots on those days. And that'll be brought up in the next meeting. So to continue with what I was saying, inserting ballots electronically is made possible because there is no verification of the electronic records. When ballot envelopes are transferred from the county to the state, observers are not allowed to verify the number of ballot envelopes. They're only allowed to count the number of trays being transported. So that's not chain of custody. If you're counting trays, and I was there with Lindsay and the others at the counting center, and we saw the transfers coming over, each tray had a different amount of envelopes. So we had no physical verification of how many envelopes were being moved. Finally, audits conducted on mail-in voting use ballot images, not actual physical ballots. Ballot images can be duplicated, thus allowing numbers to be inflated. After collections, there is no confirmation of the physical inventory. So on Kauai, after the county collected it, they had 4 people review how many ballots they counted, 2 at the drop box, and after they collected at the drop box, they brought those ballots back to the county office and they double checked those numbers and they signed off on those forms. It's not possible for thousands of ballots to get around their collections process. They allowed me to ride around with them and watch how they collected them. What they're doing is they're altering their records to match the results provided by Scott Nago. So this renders our election results unreliable and unverifiable. I recommend that Scott Nago and Mike Curtis be removed from office and that an independent audit of all the island records be conducted with the assistance of the FBI. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Lindsay, did you have anything else?
No, I think I've said what I want to say. It's just, it doesn't add up, and we need, the numbers just don't mean anything unless they're verified, and the numbers keep changing. The numbers on this chart received yesterday from Mr. Nago are different from numbers that we received when we were doing our pig investigation. Different totals, different. So, I mean, I think that statement that they're changing the numbers to match the total is, to match the 27,075 ballots that were counted. They're going back and trying to make things add up to that number. There's a lot of numbers flying around, and we just need to verify. So I think an external audit is possibly the first step. Oh, and I wanted to respond to what Claire McAdams said about that we should wait for their pig to present its reports and then act on both together. No, thank you. No, we didn't work this hard in order to have it put on a shelf until somebody else gets around to doing another report. No. Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Ms. Papalimo.
Hi, thank you for coming back.
Certainly.
Leslie, I agree with you. Don't wait around for us. We haven't had a meeting. We haven't had a Zoom. We have one letter out there. So I'm glad you're not going to wait. You didn't wait for us. I have a question. These are my questions regarding both pigs. I sit on one and this one is completed. The rules that Deputy A.G. Ching spoke of, why were those rules not given to those of us on the pig when the pig was initiated? One question. I think that would have been incredibly helpful. My question is, the pig has subpoena power. So we can at this time subpoena our county clerk to answer questions because apparently answers are not forthcoming. And that's just a reminder that we should do that. I think we're going to need a fiscal audit of the checking account on the Big Island, that whether money was taken from the US Post Office, because they do a direct take for the amount of ballots that they have as a trusted partner, I guess. And so if we have this huge discrepancy that we have been told were mail-in ballots, either we're paying them for something we didn't get, or we haven't paid them for services rendered. And that becomes an additional problem to just the numbers being off. And amazingly, people seem to respond quickly when it becomes a fiscal audit. My biggest takeaway is true, Peter, and I agree with you, is the word irrelevant. And I don't think it's miscommunication or it's poor choice of vocabulary. I think it truly is a systemic thought in the Office of Elections and the county clerk's office that our voices and our votes are irrelevant to what they come up with. And that, I think, is the problem that requires the changing of the king. So I look forward to us doing our pig. I look forward to us being able to present that to you. And I think it's going to call for a little bit more than just the last 2 elections. I think we're seriously going to have to look at the last maybe 15 years of election results to see if there's a pattern. And then, Chair, I have a request. I know you always ask everybody that comes on to testify to put their name on there. And you have Office of Elections testifier with no name. And then you have 1, 4, 5, and 7 with no name. Even if it's just a Hawaii office or a Maui office, I think that should be on there.
Thank you. Testifiers need to address their name. We'll get back to you. I would ask Ms. McAdams.
Oh, I'm sorry. I also want to let you know that
we'll be back to you next. We'll be back to you next round. You've had your 3 minutes.
I did not receive Scott Nago's response as a commissioner.
Thank you. You'll get to ask that the next round.
Can somebody me?
No, I don't have any further testimony. Thanks.
Thank you. Back to Dylan. Dylan, did you have anything? Peter Young. Anything? Jeffrey Osterkamp. Anything?
Nope.
Thank you. Ralph Kushney.
Yes, Chair. I have one more thing to add. The last chain of custody documents, the records, should have been made on December 5th or not December, I'm sorry, on November 5th or maybe November 6th. The documents that we receive keep on changing, like Lindsay Cam says. I would like Mr. Nago to explain to us the thousands of pages that he sent to us, because a lot of records were not even requested on that. And the records that he did provide are changing. And I would like to know how you can change a chain of custody record after it's been made and how that is possible. And then I would like to also have him explain the records that he gave us. There's 1,000 pages in there. So the diligent people on the commission can review the records that he gave to us and understand what he's trying to tell us in these records. Finally, there should be a sheet that he has that reconciles the different records in order to certify the election. We have never seen that, and I'd like him to present that to us prior to the election. And as I said, the election results were certified on Kauai before they revised their chain of custody documentation. And how is that possible if they were short 4,000 votes to certify an election and then after the fact change their chain of custody? Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Lindsay?
No, thank you. I'm done. Thanks.
I'm done. Ms. Papalimu?
Yes, I would also like to understand, I think I have a recommendation for the Office of Elections to have a uniformed SOP for county operations, so that all counties are doing things exactly the same. I think that's a problem when there is nothing printed for these people to do the job that they're doing, other than the rules, which everybody seems to interpret separately. So I think that's something that Scott Nago should work on, is getting a uniform SOP for chain of custody, for everything about the elections that the county is responsible for. And I think that might help.
Thank you.
And also, I did not receive Scott Nago's response that everybody's talking about. So if somebody could please get that sent to me.
Great. Staff will do that if it hasn't already. Ms. McAdam?
Sorry, I don't have anything further to add.
Thank you. Dylan, we lost you for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, my connection. No, just want to repeat my formal request that our PIG be able to present orally at the next meeting our findings and that I feel it would be of benefit to the public that we continually, especially while we're in the middle of these investigations, have the evaluation of the chief election officer perpetually on our agenda for the upcoming meetings. Thank you, Chair.
We need to receive your report, and then we can discuss it at the following meeting. Giving everybody.
I want to, for the record, disagree with that. I've been on pigs
Okay.
on multiple commissions. That is not how it works. We should be able to present it formally at the next meeting orally. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peter, no more. Jeff, no more. Ralph, did you have anything else?
I'm good, Chair. The public wants accountability. I hope we give it to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay, anything else?
Actually, yes, based on what you just said, because I'm on pig number 2 as well. And just like at this meeting, our pig number 1 report was received and presented. At the next meeting, we want the pig number 2 report to be received and presented.
Okay.
Happen at the received and presented at the same time, right? Because we tried receiving pig number 1
Yeah, I tried.
the last meeting, but because it wasn't presented, it wasn't received.
Yep.
So, okay, so at the next meeting, the pig number 2 report is presented and received and presented all at once.
It looks like I stand corrected.
Okay.
We'll research that. Thank you. Does anyone have anything else? Then I'll schedule the next meeting on August 27th, and we'll see you there. We'll adjourn today's meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance.